Should we just?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. What if I don't get pregnant? What if I do?
What's the rush, huh?
Babies. We want a big family.
God has a plan, and I am a patient woman.
Okay, you already have a lot of grandkids.
I know, but wouldn't more be better?
All right, we are recording with Jordan Van Clief. Jordan, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
It is very nice to have you here. I was happy but stuck, and now I'm unhappy and unstuck. That is an excerpt from Normally Mormon. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the short and how you made it? Why you
Yes.
made it?
Um, I have been an actor writer in Los Angeles for over a decade, which feels crazy. And I've just found that the thing that gives me the most joy is when I do have full creative freedom, and that's nothing to say on working on other people's projects, which is amazing and great. But when I have the opportunity to write the script, produce it, like no one's giving me notes, no network is telling that it doesn't meet standards. Like it's I just get to go. And I think the short film world is so fun because it's really one of the few places in the industry where there are no rules. That
It's
being said,
awesome.
Normally Mormon, I would say is like a fairly like typical, albeit long short. And it follows our title character, Abby, and her process in the Mormon faith when new information arises, trying to decide if she stays with this church or stays or chooses herself.
Yeah. The first question is why did you make it? What were the circumstances in your life that shaped you to want to make this statement?
I had just gone through a very big and traumatic breakup, and I kind of wanted to write a coming of age story for a 30-year-old, and what it's like to have a very set path in life. I was with this person for most of my 20s. We were engaged, the engagement failed. And it felt like every piece of my life had shifted fundamentally. And I wanted to write a story where the character not only lost her relationship, like her marriage, but had to start over.
Yeah.
And I knew religion was a good point of this. Also, I should say that I am not religious, and I spent a
Are you
lot of
Mormon?
no, I am
Okay.
not.
Okay.
No, my
Or were you ever Mormon?
no.
Yeah.
I spent a
Yeah.
lot of time like deciding what religion to pick because you really have to be careful. I really, as someone who's seen the film, I hope that you can like, I am not critiquing the Mormon religion. I am critiquing the way that they view homosexuality and some of their core principles that the people of the Mormon Church or the Church of Latter-day Saints, as they now go by, or more formally. Um, but it is not, I'm not here to tell the Church of Latter-day Saints that they're wrong, that God is wrong, that their beliefs are wrong. And I worked very hard to make sure that the end of the day, the church was not the ultimate evil. It's the
Y-
people who are interpreting this text, which I think is often the case in religions.
You know, I love, the first thing that you said was that you coming of age story for a 30-year-old, because there's so much truth to that, and I don't know if that gets recognized enough, but I think in your 30s there is another layer of really coming of age and kind of settling into your middle years of your adulthood and what that looks like. And there's so many things that come up with career aspirations, long-term commitments, whether they succeed or not, or do go up and down, that road. And it's really a interesting point in a person's life because, the expectations that you set up here for yourself as a 20 something or a young kid are then lived out. And how do you deal with that? And I think a lot of the conflict that people experience at that point in their life is that, well, they're not living the life that they thought they would be living,
Yeah.
so sounds like you faced it, you met it head on, and you decided to make a movie around that theme, which is just such a great way to deal with life and process living life and your own self and emotions and how you fit into the world. And it's, such a that is art, that is art. And when we do that, we are, engaging in our own therapeutic process and also allowing others to engage in their own therapeutic process vicariously by witnessing that kind of art process. But really, when the filmmaker does it, it's most intense. It's your stuff that you're dealing with. So, when you come to the movie as you're writing it, you're dealing with meanings and themes, and as you're then, editing it, you're dealing with meaning and theme. And then you're watching it and you're a viewer and you're watching your acting. And of course, you're criticizing everything in between, but because you want to make it perfect. But at the end of the day, you watch the film, you made the film. Now, what is your message? The message that you get out of it, the message that says, all right, I got what I was looking for.
You mean like the message of the film that I want
Yeah.
people to take away?
Not others, not others. The
That I
message
take.
is the way that you privately take away and say, yeah, this is meaningful to me.
I mean, I think that changes every time.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of re-experiencing and rediscovering something. And I think it's just such an interesting and also like difficult question because I spent so many years with this script before, I spent like a year with this script. We filmed during COVID, like so much has changed. I feel like my takeaway sometimes we'll watch it and I'll be like, wow, I was so sad. Like the emotional truth, and I'm just like, oh, like things really do get better. Like you just have to persevere. Sometimes I watch it and it's a message of friendship, and it's the resiliency between her and her husband, and like how much it matters to have just one person on your side. Sometimes I watch it and I see the mom making a really difficult choice to support her daughter in a way like that is true to her, but also not untrue to her religion. Like, so I think it's just like I've seen
Yeah.
and worked with the script so much
Yeah. Yeah.
that my takeaway, I think it really just depends on the day.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, that's
but I
great.
do think resiliency is the message loudest in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I love that. And, I appreciate it too, because a lot of people, on the surface level can watch and, I think it's very much there and it's very much true how when a organization that is there to create more harmony, love, peace in the world, enacts acts out in a way that is not loving, that's not accepting. It's clearly in conflict with its own doctrines. Seems to be such so hypocritical. It's such a point of, tension in our own lives, and other people's lives that feel ostracized in some way. Whenever religion ostracizes people, it's like, how is that possible? That just doesn't seem in accordance with and
The way of Jesus. It is, I
well,
mean,
yeah,
Mormons
yeah,
are very stereotypically nice. And I think in all of my research and time talking to a lot of, unfortunately, I only really met a lot of ex-Mormons who would kind of meet me. Um, but I think a lot of them come to that point on their own where they can still have some faith, but they also recognize the hypocrisy of their faith, a faith that is supposed to be of loving and accepting, except it's only for the in group. And if you're in the out group, then you don't get that love and acceptance. And like so many people in religion are very, very aware of that fact. Like this is not news to them that
of
there's some
course.
hypocrisy.
Of course, of course. And I think that's why, I really appreciate what you're saying in terms of resilience, because whenever there's a context of unconditional love, whether that's going on at home or in your religious community that's just outside of the house or, in your broader country, politically when that's going on, resiliency is what's needed on both parts that feel oppressed by the injustice, right? Whether you're getting oppressed or whether you're witnessing the oppression, there is something that you have to do to continue to make efforts towards what you believe in and not giving up. And I think that is great how that's what you are struck by most in that story. And I think that is the key takeaway of it is that, the couple continues to be together, even though because they are best friends, even though they may not have be able, what their relationship is going to look like as a married couple, we don't know. But they continue to be together for the time being. Since making the film, how have you been personally changed?
This has absolutely been my most successful film, which was really, really fun. I think also making it during COVID was such a difficult triumph, and then putting this out kind of in the like ends of COVID, but it is so wonderful to get to share this with people, and the response overwhelmingly has just been so positive. I think what I like to joke is like, everyone in LA says they're an actor and they're a filmmaker. And then when I get to show this to my friends, they're like, oh, she's good. And I'm like, yeah.
Well, how do you think
Uh,
that's changed you?
how has that changed me? I think it just, I don't know.
Take your
I think
time.
no, it just, I think the biggest change is that this industry is still such a mess, and that success has to be something that is in my own definition. And it's like, I know I can make a very talented piece of work. I know I can stand by it. I know it can be regarded really highly, and still this industry is a mess. And that can be a very frustrating thing, but also, resiliency. And I'm working on my next project right now. It's taken a little bit of time, but yeah, it's just I think for me, this has always been about doing what I love, and I have to always remember to connect it to that.
Yeah, I think that's really a great experience to share with the audience. It's the film industry, television industry is a small industry, and there are not enough seats so everybody can have one to be working in it. There are far more people that desire a seat than seats available. And so it's just by definition that you
Pandemic
have.
didn't help. The strikes didn't help.
Oh
Like,
yeah, sure. Yeah,
the
yeah.
past couple of years have just been very hard for everyone, but I think the entertainment industry just hasn't rebounded because they're not making money.
Well, if you go to school to be a doctor or a lawyer, there's a need in the industry for those doctors and lawyers. Chances are, if you're a mediocre doctor or lawyer, you'll get a job. If you are an outstanding artist, there's not a guarantee that you're going to get a job. And so, in that way, how do you define professionalism? How do you
Right.
find your own sense of professionalism? And so, your own sense of professionalism must come from a sense of the work and not the paycheck. And so, that's something that as artists, people have to come to and appreciate
Mm.
and then figure out how they're going to get that paycheck in order to live. So, Jordan Van Clief, filmmaker, actor, writer. The film is Normally Mormon. Keep us posted on your work. Everybody on Play It Forward, thanks for being here today. Till next time. Bye,
Thank you
Jordan.
so
Thank you
much.
so much. All right.